Hello students, today in your algebra class we're going to be working on completing the square. So this is part 1 of the lesson. We're just going to be working on completing the square, and in part 2 you'll be working on solving the completed square. So before we start, let's try these two quick practice problems. It's a good time for you to pause your screen and try solving these on your own. Hopefully you've paused your screen and now you're just checking your answers. So for number 1, because we only have one variable, which is the x squared, we're going to go ahead and isolate it by adding 6 to both sides of the equal sign. Then we're going to rewrite what we have, which is x squared equals 36. Then we're going to square root both sides. And you'll notice because we square rooted both sides, we are supposed to add the plus or minus signs. So your final answer should read x equals plus or minus 6. For problem 2, because we can x box factor this, we're going to factor this to x plus 5 times the quantity x plus 1 equals 0. Then we're going to, using zero product property, set each one equal to 0. So x plus 5 equals 0 and x plus 1 equals 0. For the first step, we're going to subtract 5 to both sides, and we're going to get x equals negative 5. And for the problem on the right, we're going to subtract 1 to both sides, which leaves us with x equals negative 1. So at the end of this lesson, you should be able to complete a square. So this has 4 really important steps that I do want to see on your notes. Step 1 is to move the constant to the other side of the equal sign. Step 2 is to make sure your squared term has a 1 in front of it, i.e. x squared, not 3x squared. If it is not, then divide by that number to both sides. Step 3 is to take half of the linear term, the one with the x, square it, and then add that number to both sides. Step 4 is to write the equation as a perfect square, as in x plus a quantity squared. So I know those are a lot of steps, so we're going to work through this problem together. Our example 1 is x squared plus 6x minus 9 equals 0. According to step 1, we want to move the constant to the opposite side of the equal sign. So this minus 9 has to go. So we're going to add 9 to both sides, and we're left with x squared plus 6x equals 9. Step 2 is to make sure your squared term has a 1 in front of it, i.e. x squared, not 3x squared. So if we look at our x squared term, it does in fact have a 1 in front. Step 3 is to take the linear term, the one with the x, so in this case it's 6. We're going to take half of it, which is 3, and then square it. So 3 squared is 9. So we're going to add that to both sides of the equal sign. So we added 9, which we did in blue, to both sides. So we're going to simplify it as x squared plus 6x plus 9 equals 18. And then to do step 4, we write it as a perfect square. The way we do that, and I'm going to rewrite that last step. What we do is we start with the open set of the parentheses, and we're going to do x, and then we're going to use the sign of the linear term above it, which in this case the sign is a plus sign. So we'll write plus, and then we'll take the square root of our constant term, which in this case is 9. So the square root of 9 is 3. And then we could do our square term, because that's what it says in step 4. And of course, equals 18. Let's try another one that's slightly more spicy. So example 2, we have 2x squared plus 8x minus 48 equals 0. Step 1 is to move the constant to the opposite side of the equal sign. So we're going to add 48 to both sides. So add 48 to both sides. We're left with 2x squared plus 8x equals 48. So step 2 says to make sure that number in the x squared term has a 1 in front. Unfortunately, ours has a 2. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to divide by 2 to both sides, or in this case everything. And we're left with x squared plus 4x equals 24. So now the square term has a 1 in front, and now we can proceed. So, step 3, we're going to take half of the linear term. And again, the linear term is the term with an x, which I've changed to the color red. We're going to take half of that. So we're going to take 4. We're going to divide it by 2, which is 2. Then we're going to square it, which is obviously equal to 4. The last part of that is we're going to add that to both sides. So x squared plus 4x. And then adding it to both sides, we're adding 4 to both sides. And I've changed that to blue so it's easier to spot. And simplifying, we get x squared plus 4x plus 4 equals 28. And to do the perfect square part, again, we do the parentheses, we write x, and then we use the sign of the linear term, which is in this case again plus. And then we're going to square root our constant term, which in this case is 4. So square root of 4 is 2. And then we're going to put the square up, and that's equal to 28. Now it's your turn. Try completing the square for this one problem, and when you're done, make sure to add these onto your notes. That's all for now. See you guys next time.